This is total fraud, and how the FBI and Department of Justice, I don't know, maybe they're involved, but how people are allowed to get away from this stuff with this stuff is unbelievable. This election was rigged. This election was a total fraud.
The day after the 2020 election, a lawyer for President Trump called voter data expert Ken Block and asked him to look for voter fraud. Block took the job and is now talking about what he found and what he didn't find. His book is Disproven by My Unbiased Search for Voter Fraud for the Trump Campaign, the data that shows why he lost and how we can improve our elections.
And he joins us now. Ken, good morning.
Good morning.
We appreciate you joining us. So obviously there are thousands, maybe even millions of people that doesn't matter how much evidence you show them, they still will believe that the 2020 election was a fraud. They will believe what the president has been saying this whole time. After they read your book, do you think you could change their minds?
Probably not. If it is being honest about it. It's sort of like Lucy and Charlie Brown, where she yanks the football away every time Charlie Brown runs up to kick it. There's been lots and lots of claims of voter fraud, and we've even had some recent ones, but none of them have panned out. But the true believers believe that whatever the next one is going to be the one that proves the narrative, but it's very unlikely to do that.
So when you're given this task, you're either told, okay, you need to go find evidence or find lack of evidence. How do you even start an investigation into something like this?
Yeah, so what we did in the month directly after the election was we were asked to, and we were contracted to look for evidence of people who cast votes who were deceased. We were asked to look for evidence of people who voted twice in 2 different states. And we found small numbers of votes like that. In the 6 swing states, we found a small number of dead voters in each of them. And some people in Pennsylvania were arrested and charged with committing a voter fraud crime. But nothing that rose to anywhere near enough votes to have changed any of the election results. And while we were doing this work, as I was talking to the top lawyers in the campaign, these are names that nobody would recognize because they were behind the scenes and didn't get into trouble. I earned their trust, and they asked me to evaluate about 20 claims of voter fraud that had come in from literally around the world about voter fraud in one of the swing states. And I was able to show for each of those claims that they were false.
Wow. So who exactly hired you? Who were you working on behalf of when you were doing your research?
So, yeah, I was working for the Donald Trump for President 2020 campaign. A lawyer named Alex Cannon reached out to me the day after the election, and he was the only person that I interacted with throughout the 30 days where I did the work.
So you weren't hired by someone on the left, by any progressive candidates or anything. You can say honestly that you were completely impartial in doing your research.
I was, and as we negotiated the contract, I made it upfront clear that in my decade plus of looking at voter data, I had never seen any level of fraud that would approach what the campaign needed to see. And I let them know that. And I also told them that ultimately, if I did find it, it would stand up in court for sure. But if I didn't find it, I didn't find it. And I wasn't going to custom deliver a finding for them. And they appreciated that. They wanted to know the truth.
So I was going to ask if anything surprised you, but you're saying you didn't find anything. Was anything in this investigation? You're talking to people, you're gaining their trust. Did anything surprise you as you were investigating such a large-scale accusation of voter fraud?
No, I didn't expect any of the claims of voter fraud to pan out. And frankly, some of them were just bonkers. 750,000 people who voted twice in Wisconsin, more than 100 people who a group of undertakers in Pennsylvania determined to be dead, but they had made some mistakes in their analysis. Everything came down to either a misunderstanding of what they were looking at, or much more likely, just a completely false, made-up accusation, which was that accounted for almost all of them.
Okay, so in this book, you obviously disprove that the 2020 election was a fraud, but you also go into make suggestions about how elections can be improved in the future. Where do you start there?
Well, to the absolutely biggest thing, bar none, is gerrymandering has an awful impact on our elections. And it's a true example of politicians rigging our elections. When you gerrymander a congressional district, for example, you're guaranteeing that a party wins the seat no matter what. It's a harmful thing. We all have seen what's happened over the last years as both Democrat and Republican controlled states have gerrymandered like crazy to gain an advantage in the upcoming congressional elections. It's absolutely wrong, and we need to get back to elections that are determined on the merits, but we're really far from that right now.
Here's the information on the book here. It is called Disproven, My Unbiased Search for Voter Fraud for the Trump Campaign, the data that shows why he lost and how we can improve our elections. For more, you can check out Ken's site there. There's his information, his Instagram handle. Give him a follow right there. Tim, thanks so much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.